Today, we've got some new news about Forza Horizon 6, and it's from a news source, and I thought you'd find it interesting, and today, we're gonna talk about it. Now, obviously, it goes without saying, but I do need to say it. Nothing in this video is confirmed just yet. Forza Horizon 6 isn't even confirmed just yet. Until somebody at Xbox or Microsoft come out and say, hey, here's Forza Horizon 6, then it's confirmed. Until then, it's all rumors and speculation. However, by the end of today's video, I think you'll be going, the rumors and speculation is looking pretty not so rumor-like. I get it. It's still a rumor, but let's just wait. Let's wait for the developers. Obviously, when Forza Horizon 6 does officially get announced, I'll be making a ton of videos about it, so make sure you subscribe. Now, before we get into how all of this news relates back to Forza Horizon 6, I need to tell you about these guys, Cult and Classic. You thought that was a sponsor segue, didn't you? Wrong, I'm just making sure you're on your toes. Cult and Classic is an Australian car dealer, importer, retrofit. Now, I promise this does relate back to Forza Horizon 6, but let me get to that. Essentially, what Cult and Classic does is they go to other countries where they purchase cars and import them into Australia. When they do that, they go and retrofit them to get them up to speed and up to roadworthiness in Australia, so they abide by all of the laws and stuff like that. And then they sell them on to Australian car owners so they can have special cars. It is a very, very cool shop. And when you click around their website, you will spot some seriously cool cars. And I think you might be able to tell where I'm going with this as we're scrolling through their inventory. Anyways, you're probably saying, but Nick, how does this random car shop in Australia relate back to Forza Horizon 6? Well, last week, they shared this photo with this caption over on their Instagram store. They said, exciting news, we have Cody here from Forza Horizon shooting cars for the next installation in the series. As there are no late model K cars in America, he's flown out from the States to use our cars as the basis for their digital version. We are huge gamers here at Cult and Classic, and it is an honor to be supporting Forza and making K cars accessible virtually for people who can't have them IRL. If you buy a car they've scanned, we have a prize for you to how good? Okay. Fair play. I think you can see where we're going with this now. This Instagram story was only up for 6 hours or so before the guys at Cult and Classic ended up deleting it. But it was too late because the AR12 community had already screenshotted it and sent it over to me. So I feel like there's a little bit of backstory that I should probably explain. Number one, what's the car? Number two, who's Cody? And number three, is this even real? Does it make any sense? Let me explain all three of them. Number one, the car in question is this, a 2020 Suzuki Every PZ Turbo Special. It is a full-on JDM wagon, K-car, van, truck, whatever you want to call it. It is legit as it gets. It's got a 660cc three-cylinder engine that puts out 63 horsepower, and it has an approximate top speed of 120 kilometers an hour. But that depends entirely on how many people you have on board and the direction of the wind. This one in particular was obviously imported by Cult and Classics from Japan into Australia. It was a one-owner car in Japan, and the guys from Cult and Classic, when they got it into Australia, upgraded the wheels, brought it up to roadworthiness for Australia to make sure it follows all of the local laws for New South Wales where they're located, and I think they even put Apple CarPlay in it, which is pretty cool. So yes, a proper JDM-K car seems to be on the horizon for a future Forza game. But what about Cody? Who's Cody? What does he do? In full disclosure, I've never actually met Cody. I know a lot of the Forza Horizon developers, but I don't know Cody. I'm sure he's an awesome guy. I do, however, know a lot of people who used to do this exact job. So let me tell you what they do. Essentially, they're car photographers, car coordinators, and content coordinators, where they'll go into the world, source some of the rarest cars in the world to scan for a future Forza Horizon game or Forza Motorsport game, and then head out to where that car is located, photograph it, 3D scan it, and then come back to the studio with a boatload of images and scans and everything in between. They scan both full cars like the Cult and Classics K car, but they also scan automotive aftermarket parts like rear wings, for example, body kits for those cars, and the wheels that are sometimes used in the games as well. I've got the chance to speak to some people who do this exact job, and from speaking with them, they've all got some incredible stories how they found some cars in wild and wacky places. Sometimes they'll be working with race teams if they're in need of some specific race cars. Sometimes they'll be working with museums if they need some really old stuff. Sometimes they'll obviously be working with the manufacturers themselves, and sometimes they'll just find somebody who happens to own a car and they'll scan that one. For example, there was a recent story about a guy who had his Focus or Fiesta scanned for the recent one that was added into Forza Horizon 5. That wasn't owned by Ford. It wasn't like a marketing car. It was just owned by a guy in the United Kingdom, and he had his car scanned by the developers, and then that exact car was added into the game, which is pretty cool. Anyways, going back to Colton Classic, a dealership like this has access to a ton of super rare JDM cars, and they're easily accessible for the developers. All they need to do is send some people out to Australia with a couple tape measures, 3D scanners, and some fancy cameras, and they can go and scan a load of JDM cars really, really easily. For example, right now, at the time of recording this video, Colton Classic has these cool K cars that I just spotted on their website. They've got a 2020 Subaru Sambar, a 2024 Daihatsu Hijit, I've never even heard of that before, a 2021 Suzuki Carry, and a load of other cool stuff as well. Plus, not to mention the non-K car stuff they have. They've got a 1997 Alpina V6, the brand new Toyota Prius, and a Nissan Note, which again is a car I've never heard of before. Anyways, all this to say the developers can go out to a dealership like this and work with a dealership and scan a bunch of stuff super easily and super conveniently. Essentially, it just makes it so much more convenient for the developers. Instead of just calling one guy up, flying out, scanning their car, flying all the way back, putting it in the game, they could just go to one location, get a load of cars, fly back with all the data, and they're good to go for a while. Anyways, third and last but not least, is this information legit? Yes, I wouldn't be making this video otherwise, but let me explain why. Generally, the developers are actually really, really good at controlling leaks. The only time you ever really hear about stuff leaking for Forza Horizon is when people go into the game files and find things either right when the game is ending its life cycle or right when the next game comes out. That's generally the only time. That's usually because the developers are testing things, but that's besides the point. The only time there's generally leaks, though, for Forza Horizon, it's not coming from the developers themselves, and it's coming from the third parties that they work with. For a game like Forza Horizon, there is so much licensed content, and the developers have to work with a ton of different people, whether that be local governments, museums, car manufacturers, aftermarket manufacturers, and everything in between, and obviously the people where they source their cars from. Those things will always be the weak point for leaks for a Forza Horizon game. Although, yes, all of those people sign NDAs, some of them tend to not really understand how they function and sometimes break them. It's happened many, many times before, like when Apollo leaked the IE coming to Forza over on their Instagram page when they were just replying to someone saying, yeah, it's coming soon. And Gunther Works did the exact same thing when they announced their Gunther Works Porsche was coming to Forza Horizon 4, also on their Instagram page. It's just how it seems to be. Anyways, with all of that being said, though, what does this actually mean for Forza Horizon 6? You've got to assume Forza Horizon 6 is going to be taking place in Japan. Not only this, but when you also combine it with the information that the developers have already provided us themselves, when they came out and said they're rescanning 5 legendary JDM cars like the RX-7, the Lancer Evo, the R32, the S15, and the A86, all 5 of those are getting rescanned for the next Forza game. It definitely makes you go, you're scanning a lot of JDM K cars, and you're also rescanning some JDM Legends. Everything right now is pointing more and more towards Forza Horizon 6 taking place in Japan. We're gonna need to wait 10 more months for the developers to officially announce it. And when they do, we'll have to see if we're right or wrong. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye!